Imagine this, a perfect, seaworthy ship sailing majestically on the vast, open Atlantic Ocean. Sails billowed, catching the wind, everything in its place. But as you get closer, an eerie silence hangs in the air. There's no one at the helm. No one on the deck. In fact, there's no one on board at all. This isn't the opening scene of a horror movie. This is the true, baffling story of the Mary Celeste, a vessel that would go down in history as the ultimate ghost ship. What happened to its crew and passengers remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. Let's set the scene. The year is 1872. The Mary Celeste, a two-masted brigantine, is discovered adrift and deserted, thousands of miles from where it was last seen. The ship that found it, the Dei Gratia, cautiously approached. What they found was a scene frozen in time, a chilling tableau that has puzzled historians and enthusiasts for over 150 years. When the boarding party from the Dei Gratia stepped onto the deck of the Mary Celeste, everything seemed eerily normal. The ship was in excellent condition, completely seaworthy. Down below, the scene was even more perplexing. In the ship's galley, there was ample food and fresh water, enough to last for months. Personal belongings of the crew and passengers, including valuables and money, were left untouched in their cabins. It was as if everyone had just evaporated. The captain's logbook was found, with the last entry dated 10 days prior. It noted rough weather, but nothing that a sturdy ship like the Mary Celeste couldn't handle. There were no signs of a struggle, no signs of a fight, and no signs of a panic. It was just empty. 10 souls were aboard the Mary Celeste when it set sail from New York, bound for Genoa, Italy. There was Captain Benjamin Briggs, a respected and experienced mariner. With him were his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia. A crew of 7 seasoned sailors completed the manifest. All 10 of them had simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind a perfectly good ship and all their possessions. So, the million-dollar question is, what could have possibly happened? Where did they go? Now, here's the one crucial detail that deepens the mystery. There was one single thing missing from the entire ship: one of its lifeboats. This suggests that the crew and passengers abandoned the Mary Celeste deliberately. But why? Why would a highly experienced captain, with his family on board, abandon a perfectly sound ship in the middle of the treacherous Atlantic? This is where the theories begin, and they range from the plausible to the outright bizarre. For decades, the story captured the public's imagination and theories ran wild. Early speculation pointed towards pirates. But this was quickly dismissed. The ship wasn't damaged, and more importantly, its valuable cargo was completely secure. Pirates would have surely plundered the ship. So, if not pirates, what about a mutiny? Perhaps the crew rose up against Captain Briggs. Again, the evidence doesn't support this. There were no signs of violence or a struggle. Everything was too orderly, too peaceful for a mutiny. Then, of course, come the more fantastical explanations. Some whispered of sea monsters, a giant squid or a kraken that snatched the crew from the deck. Others suggested paranormal activity, that the ship had sailed into some kind of dimensional rift, a Bermuda Triangle-like anomaly, even though it was far from that area. While these tales make for great stories, they lack any concrete evidence. The truth, most investigators believe, is likely something far more mundane, yet just as tragic. To find the most likely answer, we need to look at what the Mary Celeste was carrying. Its hold was packed with over 1,700 barrels of raw industrial-grade alcohol. This wasn't the kind you drink. It was destined for fortifying Italian wines, and here lies the key. 9 of these barrels were found to be empty. Modern analysis suggests these particular barrels were made of red oak, which is more porous than the white oak used for the other barrels. It's highly probable that alcohol fumes began leaking from these barrels and filled the cargo hold. Now, imagine you're Captain Briggs. You're responsible for your ship, your crew, and your family. You smell the potent, flammable fumes of alcohol vapor building up below deck. In the confined space of a ship's hold, even a small spark could trigger a catastrophic explosion, blowing the ship to pieces. The fear of an imminent, violent explosion would be overwhelming. Faced with this terrifying possibility, Captain Briggs may have made a calculated, albeit fatal, decision. The pressure might have built up, perhaps even causing a small, startling rumble or popping sound from the hold that sounded like the precursor to a massive blast. In what he believed was a temporary safety measure, he could have ordered everyone to evacuate into the lifeboat. The plan was likely to trail behind the Mary Celeste on a long tow rope, keeping a safe distance until the fumes dissipated and the danger passed. It was a logical, precautionary move. They would have bundled his wife and young daughter into the boat, lowered themselves in, and paid out the line. But this is the Atlantic Ocean. The weather can turn in an instant. A sudden squall could have struck, or a massive wave could have parted the tow line, snapping it and setting the tiny, fragile lifeboat adrift. Once separated from the mothership, their fate was sealed. Lost in the vastness of the ocean, with limited supplies and exposed to the elements, their chances of survival would have been virtually zero. The Mary Celeste, now empty, would continue on its course, a silent, unmanned vessel, until it was discovered by the Dei Gratia. This leaking fumes theory is the most widely accepted explanation today. It accounts for the missing lifeboat, the untouched cargo, the lack of violence, and the orderly state of the ship. It paints a picture not of monsters or pirates, but of a responsible captain making a calculated risk to save his family and crew from a perceived danger of risk. That tragically backfired. But is that really what happened? The story of the Mary Celeste endures because, despite this plausible theory, there are still lingering questions. Why was the captain's log so calm? Why did they leave behind their navigation instruments and personal papers? Was the threat of an explosion really so immediate that they couldn't grab essential supplies? Some researchers have proposed alternative ideas. From a seaquake stirring up the seabed and releasing methane bubbles, to the crew being sickened by contaminated food. Each theory has its proponents and its flaws, and without any survivors or a final message, we are left to piece together the clues. The Mary Celeste is more than just a ghost ship. It's a testament to the power and mystery of the sea. It's a human drama about a family and a crew who faced an unknown crisis and made a decision that led them to disappear from the face of the earth. Their ship sailed on, but their story ended somewhere in the waves of the lonely Atlantic. So, what do you think truly happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste? Do you believe the alcohol fume theory is the most logical explanation? Or do you think something else, something stranger, was at play? Was it a freak natural event, or something we haven't even considered? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I read every single one, and I'm fascinated to hear what you think happened on that fateful voyage. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy diving into historical mysteries like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss our next adventure into the unknown. See you next time.